Hey, we made it with a few seconds left to spell.
Hi,
It's
Joe.
despair.
Despair?
Hi,
How's it
how's
going?
everybody?
Aye. Well, it's almost 5:30. I'm gonna bring the meeting to order. Um, update agenda. I think Mike has something.
Just we have a person expressed interest in joining them, taking the vacant seat on the planning commission.
Yep. Someone taking over Mike's position. Right here.
Up here?
Yep.
Oh. I read that and I didn't know if it pertained to,
Okay.
Yes, I had to resign from a last meeting, Mark, because town manager isn't allowed to be on any of the boards in town.
so you're jumping ship here too.
Hey, I did. I was like, you know what? This is my chance. I'm still here. It doesn't matter. I still come to the meetings.
Oh, yeah.
What do we want to
So, I don't know,
discuss?
did you want to do that
Appointing-
first, or you? Yeah, I mean, what I'll need from you guys is if you're okay with him, you have to make a motion to recommend him to the select board for appointment to the planning commission.
I will make a motion to recommend James Ozone to the planning commission.
Second,
Second,
all in favor?
aye.
Then we have James Ozoni going to the select board meeting, which will be Wednesday, this
Yep.
Wednesday.
Wednesday, yep.
Yep, okay, for appointment.
So he'll fill out Mike's term.
Right. So he'll only be on there until September, and then you'll have to do it all over again. I mean, he'll have to get reappointed in September then.
If he wants to stay.
Yeah, he might. There is always that.
Okay. Moving on, any public comment? Nope. Bruce is going, shaking his head.
No comments.
Zoning board update. I did talk to Nick today and he said to say hi to everyone. But he's also wanting just to say, remember last time we gave his phone number? And do you have his phone number?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, cell phone number, right?
Yep.
Okay, so he was just saying that if you did want to call him, that you would have to like text him first. And then he'll, just to give him a heads up, because he only does things at night. And so you would have to text him and usually after 8, if you wanted to talk to him.
Oh, God, it'll be
Just to clarify that. And then he went on to saying, I don't know, we got on, the town planning stuff and the storage containers that we had been talking about before. And he says that his town is kind of going through that same thing and they're trying to get remedies to like not have it be such a hard hit, like when do you send it, or you just send it to the people that you think have it, but how are we supposed to know what's in the back roads or anything? You're just gonna, I don't think everybody should get.
Send what?
Well, when you have to send a notice that they have a container and they have to get a permit, isn't that still what we're on? We've never really finished that.
Right,
not
no,
ours.
I've always required storage containers to be permitted. Personally, that was my practice because it's a structure like anything else. And you hear about people putting boards on them and turning them into storage houses. So there's no difference in my mind, but I thought you were talking about sending some kind of mass notice out to, or looking
No,
for
I was
people that
inquiring,
might have
how
them.
were you, no, I was inquiring how you were going to do it. Were you just gonna do it individually? Because Mark, like if you see something, like you could write it,
Oh, I don't see nothing now.
see, okay,
It's up to the zoning administrator.
I
That's
agree.
his job.
I
And
agree. I'm
We're
not-
not there to do any legal stuff about, he's got a porch and this, that. We're here to write laws in the zoning book. So I'm not getting involved in any of that stuff.
so do we all gonna agree
Well,
not
the
to do anything?
The practice is we have never expected the zoning administrator to go looking for violations. That's at $6,000 a year. That's just not in the cards. It's just not enough time. But certainly if somebody notifies the zoning administrator of a problem like you have, Annie, and other people have, that the zoning administrator's obligation to go check into it.
Well, what about the members though? I mean, members as
If
well, or they don't want to
it's
do it?
not, it is not your member's responsibility to go looking for
That is correct.
violations, but like
So you're saying-
anybody else.
But if you go by and you see something, then,
Of
No,
course,
he's-
no, I know, he's not, I know.
I know, Charles, like, can I say something? You know, I don't know
just
if you
let
know
me-
Mr. Wilson, he lives by the Taft Farm. He does maple syrup. He works for the town of Charleston. And what they do is once a year, they all jump in the car and they ride around all the streets and they write down, new porch over here, new sheds over here, new lean-to over here. And then they send the zoning administrator out to go talk to him.
Charleston
or they
doesn't
catch
have a
him-
zoning administrator.
Well,
Charleston
somebody,
doesn't have zoning.
I know they don't, but somebody goes around, he does, Mr. Wilson.
Oh, listers probably,
Yes, the listers. I'm sorry.
right.
No,
I-
listers.
And that's what they do. They go around and spend the day, go for breakfast, go for lunch, and they spend the day riding all the roads and writing down the violations, and then somebody takes care of it. So I don't expect the zoning administrator to do that. He's busy enough with two different places to do the paperwork that he has to do. But if a bunch of people want to get in a car one day and take a ride on a Saturday and do this and that once a year, but
Nope,
I'm not,
no problem.
I am not gonna stick my nose in anybody's business anymore. If I notice something, it's not my problem. And the same thing with the water and sewer board. I'm not getting involved in getting up and going to this guy's house and listening to him complain and get mad at me because I went there. I'm not getting involved anymore. I'm not getting paid for it, so I'm not getting involved.
I
No,
bet you're
it's,
getting
it's,
paid from the water
any-
and sewer department.
Not to go in the middle of the night to go see somebody's problem.
Oh, why? 'Cause
No,
they
I don't
shut
get
the water
involved
off?
anymore now.
Shut the water
And
off?
then get thrown under the bus because I said something. So,
any
Well,
planning
I-
board
I
member-
guess it's,
I guess.
if you see something, say something. If you want to, and if you don't, you don't, that's all.
There you
because
go, that's
everything's
about
on-
it.
You know, it's just
Every-
whatever.
We're not gonna
and-
make any money on.
That's it.
everything is on this
Going in town.
TV.
Yeah,
So you start complaining and next thing you know, you're getting phone calls at home because you said something at the meeting. And I'm not gonna have,
I know about it.
I'm not going through that.
Oh,
So,
Facebook.
no, not me. Executive session, that's something you want to
Yeah.
talk about, that's fine. But not in an open meeting. I'm all done.
Yep.
Okay. And moving on with,
Should that go into executive when you? I don't know.
When you what?
Well, say you see something and you
No.
wanna, no, because you just go to the zoning administrator. That's all. Yeah.
Call
So,
him.
Yeah, you just go to the zoning and anybody, not just us, anybody.
I know.
It doesn't have to be,
That's right.
Yeah, the thing is though, so like I was in town today and I drove past 5 Mile Square and I drove past I don't forget whose house. I'm going, whoa, I haven't seen that. There's a lot of new construction. So every time you see something doesn't mean it's a violation. Most of the time when you see something, it's probably got a permit.
oh, sure.
But they're supposed to post it, but that's, I think, a weakness in the system. I think a lot of people, you don't put that big P out there so that but that's their problem then. If they don't put the P out and somebody questions it and reports it, it's just
Joel, when you saw
And
it,
isn't that the law? I mean, it's not, I don't think the
Did you
P is
report it?
required to be
Mhm.
posted.
Did you
It's
report it?
suggested because it stops those questions. But I
No,
don't
it
think
is-
there's any legal requirement that
it
they
is-
have to
No.
have it up.
it is required to post it, yes. If it wasn't, I wouldn't be bothering with those big damn P signs and telling people to wrap them in plastic and take a photo of it and everything because they're just paper and they're required to be up for 2 weeks, I think, and
15 days.
weather, you
Yeah,
have weather
That's 2
and
weeks. In
if
one
you
day.
have weather, they're going to deteriorate. So, or somebody might take them. So I say wrap them in plastic and take a picture in case you have to document that you actually posted the sign so that your permit is valid. But I mean, Gene, what you said is it. If you see something, you can either report it or not. There's no requirement and there's no restriction. It's up to you.
so when you saw that construction, did you see if it had a permit?
No,
So what's the point? You're telling us if you see it, report it, and you're not, you
No,
just
I
not-
didn't. I said if.
Joel
if
does
you
not work for
report it-
this. Joel does not work for the planning commission, Annie.
No, if you wanted,
You're
if
a
I wanted
resident,
to
though. You
report it,
just said if you see it, to report it to the
but I-
zoning.
but I said I said most of the building that goes on probably has a permit. So my assumption was, wow, they probably have a permit, but I'm not going to go check every time. That's unreasonable to ask somebody
I
to,
didn't
for somebody
ask
to
you
go
to, you
check every
just,
time that there's building going on.
well, you
Oh
just
my
said to
gosh.
report it to the zoning. I wasn't saying you go check it. You saw something, you were telling residents can report it to the zoning. I mean, you could have just said
Ye-
that.
I said you can or you can't. That's what Gene
You don't
said.
have
That's
to.
what I'm
All
saying.
right, all right,
It's
all
up
right.
to you. It's up to the
Yeah.
person. You either can or you don't have to.
And so what was my responsibility as a chair, that I'm going around and looking for things,
No.
violations, or?
That is not your responsibility.
Okay,
No.
all
You don't
right.
get paid for that.
No, I don't.
You
Alright.
can if you want, but it's not your
No, I'm not gonna
responsibility.
know.
No.
No, I'm gonna play the same way. All right, so otherwise Nick has said that he's only working on a few more permits, and it'll probably be done by next week for sure. He had 3 that were updated. One was the where is it? David Brusso. He's finally been approved. He wasn't approved finally. He did that one. And he did Mark Fatu. He approved his woodshed. And then he had an older one of that Isaiah Delabere. Is that how you say it?
Mhm.
It had gone from like 5.7 and it kind of kept going on, but he said he finally approved that too. So everything's up to date, and just a few permits that I think some occupancy ones too, he might be working on. But yeah, so he's updated. And I did speak to Beth, and she's looking at a permit on Blueberry Lane. And she'll get back. Well, it was something that had to go through Nick and everything, so we straightened that all out. And I don't think there's anything else. I didn't get a chance to do the log cabin. Beth is checking into the sisters. She knows the one on Derby Street. She says that her part for the health department is to send a notice to board up the windows. And that partially that is probably, like we had discussed, a zoning issue as well. Yes, no?
Well, if you can identify the part of the zoning that covers that,
I don't think it,
How did they get to knock down the one on Railroad Street? Was it condemned? Is that a reason that you can ask?
Which one on Railroad Street? That really
One
nice
that-
house?
No, the ones that boarded up, that Beth finally got them to board it, the windows, and now
Oh, yeah,
Richard
yeah,
Horton's gonna knock it down.
I think they're knocking it down.
That's what the last I heard, yeah.
Oh,
Beth
okay.
had said that. But I didn't know if how that worked, the man must have just agreed, knocked it down, and he got Richard Fortin to do it.
Is it knocked down?
No,
Oh,
not yet.
Yeah.
not
Okay.
yet. So that's private then, if you have to knock it down because it's condemned or whatever.
You can, why can't you knock anything down? I'm knocking our garage down.
Well,
Building.
you don't need a local permit to knock it down, although sometimes
State.
some towns do require a permit to do that. But technically, I need to say that when you're tearing down a building like that, the state does say that you are supposed to get a permit from the health department for the deconstruction because of things like asbestos. It's the church group almost got in trouble in that when they cleaned up their whole mess. They raised
Anything
the problem.
pre-1970 is supposed to be tested for asbestos.
Yep.
If you tear it down and then the state notices that that building is gone now, they're gonna go to you, just like it was explained to me when I tore down the Grand View. It's a good thing you came in, he says, because it's a $50,000 fine from the state if you tear a building down and it wasn't tested for asbestos. And the metals and the painted lead paint is not separated and taken care of. So I'm just telling everybody that's
That's
listening
exactly
tonight,
right. You're
that's the
exactly right.
state law and federal law.
So you should advise the person to call the health department. Now, I don't know what their enforcement level is. I'm not sure it's all that you take your chances, but if you don't want to take a chance and you want to lower your risk, call them and get a permit.
State watches Google Earth very closely, I was told.
Oh, yeah.
When something disappears on the map, and it's a commercial building especially,
Yeah, right. If it's,
you will get a visit.
it might be different in a residential building. I don't know how much.
Same
you know,
law
but-
applies, he said. I
Yeah,
asked him that question.
I thought so, so.
I thought it was funny with all of our FEMA stuff last year. They actually came through and did the Google drive-through things of every street in town because they wanted documentation of what was actually damaged and what was not. And you can go on all of our streets now. They're all on Google Maps. You can drive right through town, even all the side streets. And
Shows
I was
everything.
like, wow.
Oh, yeah.
It
Well,
helped
that
me when
is
I
a-
was doing all the paperwork.
Oh, that's street. You can do street view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love street view.
Very cool. Okay, any other comment on the zoning board update? Good. Next is the town plan.
Well, I thought Allison might connect with us tonight, but I guess not. I mean, I think we just recently sent them back the contract that we signed for their services. I expect that we'll be kicking that into high gear pretty soon with the kickoff meeting is to sit down and decide. One of the things we would want to do at that kickoff meeting is decide what survey questions we want to ask in our survey. So that's anytime you want to start thinking about what would you like to put in a survey? What question would you like? Write them down, and because that's going to be a probably a 2-hour session or so hour session, I guess, to figure that out. But I'm pretty sure Allison will be in touch very soon.
When is this next thing happening? In July?
We
No,
thought talking
probably, I
August.
wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it during the summer months because everybody's gone. For community meetings, I would think maybe August, end of August, September, somewhere in that. Because it would be nice to get a few of our second homeowners to be there because they do own property and that the town plan does apply to their properties.
Well, I think last meeting we had said something about August.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last July or the last week of July.
I think that would be a better time. July, I think, is a terrible, terrible month to try and do any of that.
August.
Basically, after Labor Day would be the best.
Yeah, but that's when a lot
Everybody's
of the
gone.
people are gone.
No, after Labor Day.
Yeah, they're all gone. We're talking, the people,
Oh,
the
no,
summer,
second.
people that had
Yeah.
camps on the lake and.
But we'll lock that down soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's hard for them when they're working all week.
Next is
No, but
approve the
they're here all
minutes
the
of the previous meeting. Everybody get a chance to read that?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
Do you have a second?
I can't second because I wasn't here.
I'll
Okay.
second. I just give me a
I'll
second.
second. All in favor?
Hmm.
All right. Um,
Really?
That's who's missing. I thought we had,
You knew about it. I saw him the other day.
Nice.
Next is other business.
No, no.
No laugh. Any other business?
Hmm.
No.
I
Do
got
I have a
nothing for
motion?
you.
All right,
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
second.
All in favor?
All right.